Hi guys, I'm Mike Patey. I love to build wild flying machines. Today we're going to talk about Draco, the one I destroyed. It's physics, math, and engineering. Machine it, draft it, build it, test it, break it. Every time something new gets built, the entire world advances. Laying in bed at night, it's designing new parts, designing new suspension, designing new wings. I think it was 2006 when I first saw a red, crazy-looking machine at Oshkosh. And I had to have it. And I fell in love with that plane. I flew that plane. And every time I flew it, I said, man, wouldn't it be cool if we had another 400 horsepower? Wouldn't it be cool if it had a turboprop? What if it had a slightly bigger wing? What if it had crazier gear and bigger suspension and bigger tires? And I had all these ideas going through my head. I wasn't ready to build it at that time. I eventually sold that aircraft, trying on tons of other aircraft. I was like putting on a new pair of jeans every other day with a new airplane. I wanted to try everything that flies, and the Red Dragon that became Draco never left my mind. And 10 years later plus, the beginning of the Red Dragon.
Today is the day, the last day it flies until it's a turbine. So I'm way excited.
Obviously, more horsepower.
Yes! We're off! The next time this plane flies, Pratt Whitney powered, baby.
We also wanted turbine reliability. I wanted the lightweight. Oddly enough, a turbine engine is almost the same weight as a piston engine. Some of the changes I wanted to the flight characteristics, I wanted it to fly a lot slower because we can land in cooler places, smaller places, no runway places. So I knew I needed to change the wing. I knew I wanted more aileron control. If I could fly that slow, I wanted more aileron control. So that prompted the aileron changes. I wanted more flap, that prompted the flap changes. I wanted longer wings, so that prompted the carbon fiber wing changes. I didn't modify the wing other than its shape, but I didn't add more structure to the spar. So I was limited to the V&E and the weight limits. The original Wilga PZL with the 300 horsepower engine that was in it, typical average weight climb rate was about most 4-seat metal airplanes with 300 horsepower, about 500 feet a minute. Post conversion, Draco had a climb rate of north of 3,000 feet a minute. And what's crazy is Draco at 3,000 feet a minute feels like 8 or 10,000. It flew slow, and to be able to pitch an up deck angle to get close to 3,000 feet a minute was like, felt like you're hanging on the propeller. So the performance of Draco, takeoff and landing, no wind, 78 feet ground roll, 110 landing. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Also, if you haven't already done it, pick up your plane tag, a piece of Draco, the plane I crashed by making one bad choice in a bad windy day. We hope you can pick one up for yourself, for other people you love in general aviation, so that every time they grab the key to their favorite plane and start that plane up, they're holding a piece of the plane I wrecked by making a bad decision. And remind them who's waiting for them to come home. Make good choices. Flying can wait. And also, by buying that tag, you're giving money back to the Patey First Flight program to help people who may not be able to afford general aviation get their first start, their first flight experience. We love you guys. We appreciate it. Check it out, MikePatey.com. Back to work. I've had people ask me about why a Pratt Whitney versus a Garrett, maybe like a Dash 10, 1,000 horsepower Garrett. Number one, Pratt Whitney has one of the greatest service centers globally. You can go to about any shop, any airport, and someone knows how to work on a Pratt Whitney. So that is something that's very important to me. Two, Pratt Whitney has one of the highest safety records in aviation history. Three, Pratt Whitney is a fraction of the noise. And the last thing I wanted was to land in the backcountry and have every bush pilot that's listening to birds chirp plug their ears in. So I like the quiet of the Pratt Whitney.
That thing's so quiet.
Garrett makes a great engine. It goes a lot of hours. There is something on the engineering side that was a huge concern for me. On a single engine, slow flying aircraft specifically, Garrett's rotating mass, everything moves the same direction. The compressor section, the power turbine section, the gear section, everything is going one way. On a Pratt Whitney, those sections alternate. So the compressor section is spinning one direction, the power turbine is going another direction, and the gearbox another, and then you got these sections all the way out to the propeller, and you're counteracting that rotational movement. So you got one offsetting the other. Now they're not equal 50-50, but you have much less energy all going one way. On a slow flying aircraft, if you put as much horsepower as I put in Draco into an all rotating mass one direction, and you jam the throttle a little too hard, you're gonna roll that plane significantly more than you could already still do with a Pratt & Whitney. And any giant power changes are gonna cause a bigger yaw moment to the aircraft. You would make a much more difficult airplane to take off and land or make aggressive power changes once you're on the ground or taking off. So for safety reasons, serviceability reasons, noise reasons, I chose Pratt & Whitney. I'm a huge fan. I took an aircraft from in the 55 knot stall speed into the 30s. If you take 20 miles an hour out of the stall speed, you have to have enough elevator at all the CG envelopes. So I didn't want to give up CG range just because I'm flying slower. So that prompted elevator changes. I had to change the structure of the tail because the blast of the propeller sending 680 horsepower across it compared to 300 horsepower is a lot more vibration and shake on the initial takeoff. Now at cruise, it's the same at the same speed, but Draco was capable of going significantly faster. 160 was an easy cruise at altitude. Some of the other modifications, if you haven't watched the build series, go back and watch the original build series. We made lots of changes. I actually changed the camber line in the wing to give it much higher lift. I changed the front leading edge of it and gave it a cuff. I changed the wingtips. I changed the flaps, changed the ailerons, changed the gear, changed the suspension, changed the axles, changed the brakes, changed the calipers, changed the tires. Made a new cowling, put in a filtration system for a turbine, made it so I can put it in reverse in the dirt and throw dust up without destroying my compressor turbines. Draco was filled with countless changes, spinner to tail, avionics to an autopilot that never existed, to full IFR capable, all glass screen. Draco was a traveling commuter, backcountry, bush plane / go play with the family in town plane. It was fast, slow, capable, and absolute blast. And Draco X is gonna be even better. A lot of you have asked how much Draco cost to build. Well, I joked a long time ago when it first came out. I said, do I tell you what it is or what I told my wife? That's tongue-in-cheek. My wife knows exactly what it costs. Draco costs about $2 million in parts to make, several $100,000 more in labor, and fortunately that's quite frankly a low number because I'm free. What else am I gonna do on nights and weekends after work? Well, I'm gonna go build stuff, and that time is my free time. When you think of what you have after work is free time. So I'm gonna put a price tag of 0 on the majority of all the labor on Draco. So a couple million. Who is Ron and what was it like to work on Draco with Ron? Well, Ron is my best friend. I have a couple really close best friends, and he's the one that you know would take a bullet for you. He's that friend. Ron would do anything for me, and I would for him as well. So working on Draco with Ron it just makes it fun.
All right, I will not lie. That's actually fun stuff to do.
Is there footage that you haven't seen? Absolutely. Part of this series I'm doing now is to show you that footage that has never been seen of Draco and all the fun we had and the families and new best friends we made all over the country, from Florida to Alaska. We have footage all over the place. Guys, I'm gonna wrap it up right here with a big thank you for following all these builds, my passion of flight, and sharing it with others. And thank you for being there all along the way, talking to me online, grieving with me, cheering me on, giving me encouragement, helping me through some of the hardest moments of my life. And I just want to tell you thank you for following the crazy things that I love to do. You're the reason I keep doing it. You're the reason I find time to make a video happen. I hope you like the Draco tags you guys are buying, sharing with others. I'm counting on you remembering to fly safer, make better choices, hold on to whatever you can to remind you to be a better pilot, a better person, a better father, better spouse, better wife, a better human. Life is short, it's fleeting. I promise you, being good to strangers is gonna make you happier than you ever imagined. I'm grateful for those of you who let me know it makes you happy. So I love you guys. Thank you. Stay tuned. You guys know the drill. Back to work.